Hello fellow paranormalers and welcome to this video. This is going to be a short discussion about ITC devices and technology, whether it be hardware or software or, you know, tablet driven, PC driven, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I have touched on this in other videos as well, but I thought what I would, just today, people do seem to get really wound up. I mean, if anyone who's kind of, you know, in the paranormal world and joins several forums will know there's an awful lot of bickering and backstabbing and bitchiness and hate going on between various different people, actually, who are researchers in their own right. I have respect for all of them, but for whatever, you know, problems that go on between them, you know, they're choosing to sort of all slag each other off a little bit and, you know, such like. But, you know, that's human nature. I mean, you know, what I disagree with, of course, is when people start saying that they you know, it's like in real life a little bit, where you are friends with two different people, two unrelated people, but those two people know each other and they fall out. And then you've got one or the other that maybe, you know, they're fighting amongst themselves and arguing and they've got problems or whatever it is. They've got issues between the two of them. But at the same time, you know, you or me, I'm still friends with both of those. You know, and my wife and I have got a number of friends that are like that, you know. And then all of a sudden, a year later, those two people are friends again and everyone's all hunky-dory. And, you know, the same is everywhere. But anyway, I diverse. What I'm going to say is nothing really new, but what I find quite frustrating about people who start going into the paranormal is they start slating or saying bad mouth or hating on certain devices, certain people's apps, certain methods that people use without really trying it themselves. You know, they will download an app, for instance. Let's stay with the apps because that seems to be where most of the problem is. Although I have seen this with hardware as well, believe it or not. But you know, people will download an app and they'll use it for something, you know, and they could have been using something before and they get, you know, really good responses and all of those other things, and they decide they're going to use another app. And then all of a sudden they're using that other app and they're not getting any responses, or they get, you know, they find it frustrated, or they're frustrated with, you know, how it works and the way it operates and all of those other things. And then they start slating that person's app or that person's device because they don't get what they're expecting, you know, the responses or whatever it is they're looking for. And I just think, you know, that's a little bit narrow-minded and a little bit kind of, in a way, you know, in the business world they say it's not very professional. If you don't like something, ask for your money back. You know, just turn around and say, sorry, this is not working for me. I want my money back. Or just don't use it, you know. But there's no point really in poo-pooing someone's device or someone's way of doing something or someone's app just because it didn't work for you. I've downloaded several apps and I've tried them and I get an initial reaction with some of these things pretty much straight away. I don't expect them to work for the very first time I use them. In fact, I don't expect them to work probably for the first week or two. If after that point it still doesn't work for me, or maybe a month or something later, then, you know, my PSP-7 didn't work from day one for me. I had to keep using it and taking it out and practicing and listening to the recordings and then, you know, and then things started actually working how I was expecting them to work, or how I perceived them to work. And so, you know, I just thought, yeah, this works for me, and it still works for me, the PSP-7. A lot of people don't like the PSP-7. you know. And I've often wondered about using another device, you know. I've used apps. I'm not a great fan of apps myself. I have tried, and I've tried, and I've tried, and I've used them. I've used a Windows-based app, and I've used, you know, Android apps and such like, and, you know, they kind of work, but I don't get the responses like I do with the PSP7. Exactly the same with the Portal. People keep poo-pooing this Portal, thinking that it's an ITC device, and it isn't an ITC device. It's an enhancer to an ITC device. And so, you know, in its own right, it doesn't do anything. You switch it on, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't until it starts taking input from something, and then it starts to do something. You know, then it comes into its own. So, I guess, in a way, you know, I wish that people would stop bickering and hating and saying bad things and negative things about other people's apps or other people's equipment. You know, I just don't see the point in it. It's not professional, it's not very clever, and, you know, it doesn't do anything for anybody. You might just be getting something off your chest, you know, maybe you don't like spending £3 on an app that didn't appear to work. I would just say, just keep using it until it does work. You know, if you firmly believe that something's going to work for you, then it will work. It doesn't have to be an app or a radio or, you know, a device. So, you know, that's just my little waffling speech, really. But, yeah, I mean, if you've got a favourite app or a favourite piece of hardware that works for you, I'd be very much interested to hear what it is. You know, I was seriously considering the maker of the Geobox, which I think is an amazing device. People thought that the Portal was expensive. They should try buying a Geo device. Wow, a Geobox, amazing piece of equipment, you know, but well out of my price range. And of course, you know, it's got to be shipped over from the USA. It's a massive device, really, so it's going to cost money. You know, I might look for somebody maybe in the UK that can produce something, you know. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again in another video.